Good afternoon, viewers. This is Lisa, Connecticut Garden Gal, and I want to tell you about an experiment I'm going to try with red wiggler worms. I'm going to try setting up a bucket and feeding worms nothing more than cardboard. And these won't be purchased worms. They won't be worms from an existing worm bin. They're worms that I'm going to collect outside from cardboard that was laying on the ground. And I'm going to put them in a bucket and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. But first, let me tell you why. Whenever I find worms outside, it is always most densely populated in between layers of cardboard. If I have a box that falls on the ground, before I even get a chance to pick it up, I find red wigglers between the layers. And the reason that is, it appears that worms are little carboholics. Corrugated cardboard, not the cereal boxes, not the shiny flat boxes, but corrugated cardboard. Those are the kinds that have the ripply layers that look kind of like a ripple potato chip in between the flat layers. That's corrugated cardboard. And the flat sheets, there's one flat sheet and then a ripple sheet and then another flat sheet. And it can be 3 layers thick. It can be 100 layers thick depending on the box. What it's intended for and the strength it needs to hold, or the weight it needs to hold. And for environmental reasons, the glue that holds those corrugated layers to the flat layers is 100% environmentally friendly starch-based glue. Most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, it's made out of ground corn or maize. Sometimes they add in other things, rice, wheat, even root tubers can be used. But the glue is always starch-based, it is always fully decomposable, and any of us who have fed worms, anything from commercially purchased Purina worm chow to some of the designer worm food mixes being sold on eBay or Etsy, they love it, and it fattens them right up. And those things are they're corn and they're grains, rice, oats, maybe flax. Worms love flax, ground flax. So I'm going to show you here, I'm just going to I have a little 2-gallon bucket, I think it is, and right now about 10 worms in a tuna fish can that I just found between some layers of cardboard out in my garden. And I'm going to just show you that right now, and we're going to check on it every so often. Okay, folks, so I'm outside, sitting on my deck. I've turned the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. This is the bucket I'm going to use. It's just I don't know, what is it, 9-quart bucket. Basic, something you'd wash your car with. And if you see here, all this mess, this is cardboard that was a box that was supposed to go in my recycle bin, but it was too full, so it sat on the ground waiting for the next pickup. And it had rained, and when I picked it up, I couldn't believe the worms in it. So I gathered them, and they're in this tuna can, which has been sitting in the sun, so they've crawled under the lid. But hold on, I'm going to put some of that cardboard in this bucket here and show you the worms. Okay, so I've added cardboard into the bucket, just so you can see there's absolutely no food, no dirt, no grit, nothing else in here but just some wet cardboard. There may be a few particles of dirt from where it was on the ground outside. I mean, yeah, it's going to get dirty on the ground, but there's nothing else in there, and other than the worms I'm about to show you, nothing else is going to go in there. So here's my little tuna fish can. You see one guy's heading out over the side. Let me knock him in, and then I'm going to try to get the lid off this tuna can to show you the worms that are going in here. Okay, here we go. So again, I'm outside in the full sun. These are the worms I just found between one piece, maybe 12 by 12 inch piece of cardboard, and they're loving that glue, so they are going to go and get dumped in here. going to leave this can upside down in here for a few minutes. So, as you can see, there's maybe, let me look. I would say, oh, I don't know. There's maybe 20 worms, maybe? It's hard for me to say. There may be, well, however many worms. Yeah, I would say about 20 in the whatever it is that came off their bodies as they curled together in the can. And there's a couple little guys in here. So all I'm going to do is add a piece of bubble wrap to the top of this to keep it moist, because they can't eat that grit or that glue, which is what grit is consisting of, corn. They can't eat it if it's not wet. So I'm going to make sure it stays wet. And I'm not adding vegetables, I'm not adding peat, I'm not adding dirt, I'm not adding anything else but what you see here with a piece of bubble wrap over it. Let's get this last guy out. Okay, they're good. And that's it. So I'm going to do an update in a couple weeks just to show you. I'm not putting a cover on this. We'll see how it goes. See you soon.